Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all keeping well. I'm starting to feel a little bit better after my last video. Man flu's starting to subside. Today I have another review for you, and it is on a watch that I anticipated so eagerly. And I think a lot of you guys actually really enjoyed the unboxing video of it, and I think you were really interested in it. So I'm kind of glad that this has fell around the time of an AliExpress sale, because obviously you can go and get it at the best price you possibly can. I am of course talking about the Phylida Speedmaster Tintin homage, and this is of course the mechanical chronograph version that Phylida have only released in the last month or so. So very excited to have it in, and I really appreciate Phylida. They gave me a really good deal, knocked a lot of money off this for me so I could get it in to review for you guys. Now, that being said, this is a fully honest review. They do not pay me to do this review. Nothing like that, nothing underhanded. These are my opinions and my opinions only. Now, if you'd like to pick this watch up, there's a link in the description that has an affiliate link. If you use it, I get a little bit of a kickback. Thank you very much if you do. All that's out of the way now. Let's get into this review so I can show you this watch. My name's Jason and I'm your watch guy today. So here we have the Phylida Speedmaster Chronograph homage. Now this is obviously the Tintin dial variant. Now obviously you all know the story of the Moon watch, but where does this Tintin dial come from? It is actually from the iconic Tintin rocket in the comic strips, I believe they were, or cartoons. This pattern is from that rocket itself. It actually makes up the minute track on this watch. Nice little piece of, not Phylida's history, but Amiga's history. It's probably one of my favourite Speedmaster variants, just behind the Alaska and the Snoopy variants. Now before we get into the review of this watch, let me run by the dimensions for you. This is listed as a 40mm diameter watch. Now that is true for the bezel, that does come in at 40mm, so it looks good size on wrist. However, the casing altogether comes in at 42mm here to here. So take that into consideration when you are buying this watch. It comes in at 14.5mm thick. Lug to lug is a very wearable 48.5mm. That is on my upper end, but this does feel quite comfortable on my wrists. These lugs here are 20mm. Very easy to find straps if you would like to change this one out. Now the biggest upgrade that Phylida did for this watch, in my opinion, is the movement. They packed this with an ST19 Seagull movement, and for the price that they're offering these at, which is at the moment on sale £121, I think that's a bargain to get that movement in there. You probably know that movement from the Chinese Seagull 1963 watch, on the little star at 12 o'clock, you know the one. And I think they come in on their own at like £130. Obviously this does a little bit more than that with the design and casing, etc. So I think this is a really good price. I'll just show you this chronograph movement really quickly. When I got this watch, I was hoping that it'd be snappy, it'd be functional, it'd be very accurate. And I'll show you now, I wasn't very disappointed. Stop it there and watch how this clicks back. Wow. Perfect, absolutely perfect. Now being an ST19 movement, this is a hand winding watch, which is very true to the actual Amiga Speedmaster. That's also a hand wound watch. So let's get into the watch itself now. So the case is made up from 316L stainless steel. It has a mixture of brushed and polished finishing around the casing. As you can see here on the outer edges, that is a nice matted brushed finish. And on these upper lug edges here, it's a really high polish, reflective finish. They've done really well with the finishing here. I gave this a really good look over when I first got it in, and I couldn't find any blemishes across the finishing. It's always a bonus, isn't it really? It has a very angular casing with this sort of curvature effect around the lugs. Now, that is a gorgeous design. I absolutely love that design, but we don't owe that to Phylida, unfortunately. We owe that to Amiga. That is pretty much out and out the exact same as you would see on the Moon watch, but very well pulled off by Phylida, especially at this price range. We have a push-in crown, obviously as you would expect on a hand-wound movement. As well as the crown, we have these two pushers over the side which function the chronograph. As you can see, the brushed effect also comes over onto this side of the watch. The crown actually has some pretty non-existent but built-in crown guards in between the two pushers. As we move to the back of this watch, we actually have this really gorgeous screw down display case back. Now as you can see there, that is the ST19 movement. Makes it a lovely decorative piece, that movement, I think. I love a display case back in a watch that has an ornate movement such as this one on display. I think it's absolutely gorgeous, and if you're gonna put a display case back on any sort of movement, it's gonna be one like this, isn't it? You want to see that. Now between the screw down case back, the pushers, the crown and the rest of this casing, this watch comes in at an improved 70 meters water resistance. Now that's up from 50 in the last watch, I believe, maybe 30. I know they've improved the water resistance on it. It was one of the points that Phylida wanted me to point out. Now as we look at the bezel of this watch, it's a sort of reversed cone type of effect. It has a really nice high polish on the outer edge. It gives a really lovely effect to the casing of this watch. It is obviously a fixed bezel. It is finished by this black insert. It has stainless steel markings with a red track around. This is a tachymeter display on this bezel, as you would find on the Speedmaster itself. I do believe it's a printed insert. Now finishing off the casing of this watch is this really lovely top hat domed sapphire crystal. Look at the effect that you get on here. Lovely, lovely dome on this crystal. That is again another improvement that they've made on the previous watch. The previous watch was not a sapphire crystal, this one is. Now, I much prefer the sapphire crystal in these watches. Obviously, the Omega Speedmaster, you'd expect Hesalite unless you upgraded to the sapphire version. But on a homage like this, I think that that sapphire crystal is an absolute piece of quality, added quality in this piece. Now as we move into the dial of this watch, it is a nice flat black dial. It's surrounded by this checkered Tintin design minute track, which has, as you can see there, the two levels interchanging with the white and the red, as you would see on the Tintin rocket. We have applied batons at the hour markers. These are also loomed batons. I'll get onto the loom shot a little bit later on. Either side of the 12 o'clock, we have these little pips. Unfortunately, they aren't loomed anymore. In the last version they were. I rather liked them being loomed, but unfortunately it hasn't carried over into this particular model. We have 3 sub-dials on this dial here, as you can see. So I push that again. So as you can see here, this dial here is tracking the minutes of the chronograph, and this hand here displays the seconds in the minute. Now the sub-dials in this watch are done really nicely. They're sort of indented to the dial, and they have this sunburst effect which really makes them stand out a little bit. They have a really nice crisp finish to the printing on there too, very legible design, as should be the case with any Speedmaster homage. That is one of the Speedmaster's best traits, its legibility. We have a pencil style handset. This is a loomed handset. We have an arrowhead chronograph hand in the sense here, which I really do like. It has a good level of length on it. The hands of the sub-dials carry on in the same fashion. Stark white handsets throughout, and again that adds to the legibility so well. That's what I really do love about this style of watch. The white hands really do contrast that dial super well. The dial is obviously completed by the printing up here at the 12. We have the Phylida logo followed by Chronograph mechanical, the chronograph printed in red under the Phylida logo. Now as we finish this dial, I will insert the loom shot just here. Unfortunately, the loom isn't the best. I would have liked to see a better level of loom in this watch. It's probably one of the aspects that they've kind of not upgraded that I wish that they would have. But I understand why it wasn't the main concern, but I would have liked to have seen a better level of loom in this one. Now as we finish that, we move on into this bracelet. This is a stainless steel brushed bracelet with 2 sections of polished stainless steel on the outer edge of the middle links. Gives a really nice effect to the bracelet, and it is the same type of effect that you would find on the original Speedmasters. Now as we move to the clasp, this is a fully brushed clasp. It is a milled clasp, also 2 pushes at the side of the clasp here, as well as having a milled extension. That's a really nice feature, and actually one that you don't find in the Speedmaster range. Now you may be able to tell that I'm actually quite taken by this watch. I think they've built it really well. Now it doesn't mean that I don't have any moans for this watch. I definitely do. So let me get into them. Firstly, I do really like the quality of this bracelet. In the last Speedmaster homage I reviewed from Phylida, I did pick up on how well built the bracelet was and how it added a little bit of quality to the watch itself, especially at the price that they would offer in that. Now, that being said, the overhanging middle end link isn't the best feature. It makes the lug to lug of this watch a lot bigger. It extends it in sort of a way, and for people with wrist sizes like my own, it's not the best feature. However, that being said, if you have bigger wrists than I do, probably around 7 inches, it's not going to be a factor to yourself. Secondly, I don't even know if you can see that on camera, but that's pretty much how you see it in person. I'm talking about this chronograph print. It's not very legible. I do really wish that they'd have just finished that in white also. I understand that they wanted to give a little bit of contrast, but it would have been better in white. Now obviously I've already picked up on the Lume. It could be a lot better, and I really do wish that it was, but that's not the end of the world. Now my final moan for Phylida, and this is probably one for them to take into their next watches. I know that they've watched the last few videos on these, so they'll probably watch this one. So hopefully they'll take this on board. I'd like to see a little bit more branding. Obviously the logo is printed on the dial. I actually quite like their logo. It's simplistic and does the job. I would like to see a logo printed on the crown. That is one of my preferences on all watches. I think that's a sign of brand quality. As well as that, I'd really like to see them signing their clasps. This bracelet is brilliant for the price range that this watch comes in, and the one thing that's missing from it is a signed clasp. That would be the little piece of quality that I need to complete that bracelet. So aside from those moans, this watch at the moment is on sale for £121 on AliExpress on the Phylida store, and genuinely, if I had the chance again, I'd buy it again. It's a brilliant watch, it's well built, and it has brilliant features. I don't know what's going to come up on AliExpress in the future, but I think you'd be very hard pressed to find a watch with a top hat sapphire crystal and an ST19 movement, as well as having real genuine build quality. I just think that Phylida knocked this one out of the park, and I'm already looking into the rest of their catalogue to see what I can pick up next. So guys, that is my review of the Phylida Speedmaster mechanical chronograph homage packed with the ST19 movement. I think this watch is absolutely gorgeous. You can pick this up in the normal flat black Speedmaster dial, and if that's what floats your boat, go for that. I just love this Tintin dial. I thought it was absolutely spectacular. Between the specifications that they've added to this watch, they've upped the water resistance, they've put in that top hat sapphire crystal, and obviously the upgraded movement. I think Phylida really did listen to what everyone said, and I think when producing this watch, they've done a much better job. Obviously, there's still room for improvement, but that's always going to be the case. Now, as I said in the intro, if you wanted to pick one of these up, I have an affiliate link down in the description. That gives me a little bit of a kickback from AliExpress. It just tells them that I sent you. Obviously, you pay no extra. I'd obviously be very appreciative if you use that whilst buying this watch. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new, and if you're not new, start dropping me some comments. I absolutely love interacting with you guys in there. Thank you very much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.